Alright guys, today we have a very special video. So joining me today is Costy from TheLifeOfCosty, and we're going to be having a discussion on the book Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this book is about a vampire who is sent into werewolf territory where she's made to marry the alpha of their pack for reasons which she's kind of kept secret at the beginning.
Yeah, it's a very interesting book. I mean, it's the first foray of Ali Hazelwood, Hazelwood, into the urban paranormal kind of style. Because before she's only done a book about people that work in research and everything that has to do with research environments and like strong women that work in that field. I mean, she comes from writing on Wattpad and so on, so like fan fictions. It was really interesting going into it. I was really excited, I have to say. So have you ever heard about Ali Hazelwood before reading this book?
No, actually, I'd not heard of the author before, but when you said that it was written by a scientist, that definitely did spark my curiosity, because I wondered how that would be reflected in the pages. Although saying that, when I first kind of read the synopsis, and I saw that, you know, this werewolf is meeting the alpha, I was just like, isn't that a bit cliche? And so I kind of did a little bit of an eye roll at the start. But having said that, when I got into it, it wasn't as stereotypical as I thought it might be, which was definitely a positive.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, she does follow her own hero's journey, I would say, her own romance journey in a way. I mean, her first book, which is not Love on the Brain, but the one before, we'll put the title somewhere, and was very much a fanfic of Tyler Ren. So she just does follow that like kind of blueprint for the characters, and it has that kind of idea here, like enemies to lovers kind of genre, which can be debated. I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but I have to say that she still has some STEM kind of in this book. You being a STEM major, how did you find it? Especially like having certain things insert here and there.
I mean, I really like it because I think you also kind of come away having learned something. So whenever she goes into, I don't know, talking about something, you can tell that she's done her research on that particular function of whatever it is she wants to talk about, and she's actually giving you something to take away. I know when I've written stuff like that in my work, people have said maybe it's a bit scientific, like people might not understand that. So I can kind of see where the counter argument comes from. But as a STEM student myself, I definitely enjoy reading it more. So that was definitely an element I did appreciate.
Yeah, no, definitely me too. And I mean, like, I honestly am a sucker for everything that is like paranormal, but like urban paranormal and or like fantasy paranormal. There is such a blurred line between the genres that it's difficult, but like something that isn't completely like a copycat of other titles, Twilight, like that has been kind of a lot of time in the making, and I've kind of loved this for that because it doesn't like reference that kind of love triangle or like we are in a scary moody city. It completely has a different idea. And that's why I liked it. I also kind of liked the fact that the heroine, she has to deal a lot with the humans, so she's a vampire, but she's almost human in a ways, and then she ends up with the werewolves, or the weres, as they're called in this book, but the werewolves, like the werewolf alpha, lived like in Switzerland, and he's an architect, so like he's a completely like humanized kind of person, and of course like you can't really see that they're werewolves until they shift, like they're shifters in reality, so you can really see yourself in those characters. I feel like, did you Did you like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I like that it wasn't completely supernatural in the sense that you couldn't really relate to it. All the characters felt very down to earth. And the fact that she was basically a human, like we didn't really see much of her vampire nature or abilities, you know, aside from when she needed to feed. Made it more interesting, I agree. And it made it more unique and original than it would have been if it was just like everything else.
Yeah.
Another series that I absolutely loved for doing a similar thing was Cirque du Freak by Darren Shan. If you're new to this channel, then you may not know what I'm talking about, but I've raved about this book series many times because I just think it's probably one of my favourite series. And yeah, they did vampires differently, like here, and I think that's definitely what made it stand out. This is not your first time reading an Ali Hazelwood book. How do you think it compares to the other books?
Oh my god. So I'm, if you hadn't discovered, I'm originally Italian, and Ali Hazelwood, although she writes with this name that is very Anglo-Saxon sounding, English sounding, she's Italian actually. So I read her first book because it had all of this like rave around it, and I was like, okay, well, I have to read it, and I liked it, but I was like, okay, well, fine. And then I read Love on the Brain. Then I met her actually at rare events in Florence, and I discovered that she's Italian and she had to go to the States because it's difficult to do research in Italy. And I won't go into that, but basically it motioned me to read more of her books. So to today, the only book that I haven't read of hers is Checkmate. I always have this hero that has this kind of like, I'm always almost in love with her, but I am searching for reasons in myself for not like going full in. And the heroine is always kind of like blind to this love that the hero is trying to show in a way. Not love, but like definitely affection at first. Mm. And this is something that you can see all throughout her books. And I mean, it's her style. It's like Mariana Zapata for other romance book. I'm sure you haven't read her because like it's very romance related. It's not fantasy at all. But like she's slow burn and she always does the slow burn, and like they get together only in the last chapter, and like it's like that. And she keeps selling. Like she's been selling books since the beginning of the 2010s. So I don't see her changing that. But honestly, I don't see it as a fault either, because the characters are varied enough that the rest is okay. But some of the characters in this book, in my opinion, deserve another book, and maybe that could be something different, in my opinion.
I'd be interested to hear which characters you think that of, because I think the same thing.
Oh, there are two characters. Well, I mean, okay. I'm talking about female characters. Serena, mm-hmm. Definitely, because I mean, like we haven't. It's kind of like Danica from the Sarah J. Maas Crescent City books. Like she's so important in the whole book, but like we've never actually met her and like got to know how she was. But anyways, and she seems to have a love interest already, mm-hmm. And maybe like I don't know if we have a sequel, maybe in a few years' time, Anna. Because she's so interesting as a character. I love her so much.
She's very sweet.
If you don't know, we're talking about the sister of the main character. And again, like, it's something that's not a spoiler, I don't think so.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I think Serena definitely... We get a very small glimpse of her, and we only really see her relationship to Misery. But we don't actually know much about her life. And given what we discover about her at the end of the book... Yeah. I think it makes it all the more interesting, and we really do want to learn more about how everything happened. The other character I was thinking was Owen.
Right, that would be so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I loved... this is one of the points I put in there, but I loved his kind of character. The way at the start he's kind of almost like teasing and kind of joking, and he doesn't seem that close to his sister. It seems more like a playful relationship. But then you kind of see just how much he really cares about her. I really liked it when he came back in at the end.
Yeah, I mean, having narration that is first person male would be a first for Ali. And I think that definitely she has the potential to do it. So why not, Ali? If you're listening. But yeah, so when definitely, and we wouldn't know necessarily his love interest. Maybe it could be Serena, we don't know. And definitely for Serena, I'll stuck with Serena. Okay, anyways, the nature, like the nature of herself would be a little bit easier than for what happened with our dear Misery. That, by the way, calling the character Misery from the start already, I knew that like she was gonna face some obstacles. It's kind of like this literature method of kind of like foretelling certain things, and but I kind of am like, if you have this name, I kind of would like to change it if I could. I don't know if I would keep this name.
Yeah, I suppose it's probably in the culture of vampires, it's probably not as inappropriate as it would be for us.
You have Misery and Owen!
But that is also true. It reminded me of Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. It had the similar kind of vibe.
Oh, yeah.
I think one thing actually that like heroes like that have in common is that they're not really overpowered, you know, and just able to do everything. They're definitely very flawed. I think that's what makes us drawn to them as well as readers, because you see that in spite of, you know, all of the obstacles, they're still able to achieve their goals.
Yeah, she's flawed, but she's not. She learns from her flaws. I feel like she's not flawed. She is traumatized from being. It's something that it's said at the beginning of the book. She's the. There is a name for it. She's basically
apathetic.
No, she's given to the humans, like the human side.
Collateral.
The collateral.
Yes.
She's the collateral for 18 years, and like basically. She's like renounced from, like, her whole society renounces her, and even when she comes back, like, she's not understood because she's the one that's like the outcast, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
So like she has to heal from that. Even when she moves into the house with Lo, she's like in the wardrobe, and she's constantly like closing herself in the wardrobe, even when it's like nighttime where she should go out and like live her life. She's closing herself in the wardrobe when only Anna is able to like get her out, which is the way I think that like probably she's closing herself because she's like already like sure that like she's gonna have a terrible 1 year, and she just has to like, you know, like grit her teeth and just like get through. And the fact that Anna kind of like pulls her out, and also subsequently Lo, and also the fact that she has to fight for Serena is able to show her that what her trauma had made her suppress is actually a great strength, maybe.
Yeah, no, sorry. When I say flawed, I mean like it's nice to see that she's had so many obstacles.
Yeah.
And that she's able to. We get to see her overcome them.
Yeah.
I think that's quite satisfying. Having those hurdles and seeing how she progresses as a character from the beginning of the book, when she's a lot more reserved and unable to kind of almost enjoy life. It's quite sad because her whole life has really just been about satisfying others and doing what the greater good is.
Yeah.
And we see as she develops a relationship with Lo that she actually starts liking life again. And I think she says her and Serena get into this argument because Serena's like, you need to care about one other thing that isn't me. Because Misery really didn't have anything in her life that she really kind of enjoyed, except perhaps computing, which was a part I quite liked, actually. I liked learning about computing and, you know, seeing her be very tech savvy. I thought it was a unique addition to the character that made her stand out. Yes,
definitely something that sets apart Ali's characters, being like badass women in STEM. I think that's a reason. I'm not sure about this, but I think it's one of the reasons that she lists about reason why she started to want to write, because she saw all of these characters that were like, oh, I'm a woman, that I'm out of a job, or I'm a babysitter, or whatever. But actually you want to portray also like STEM women in STEM fields are actually. Her second book, Love on the Brain, is like her character works for NASA. Like, that is the dream of like a lot of girls, and then they're told, you know, you have to face so many obstacles, it's a male domineered like field, and so you don't want to go into it. But actually she's like a badass woman in the end. Like, she discovers that she's like as strong as a were because she's a vampire, but also because she's like strong as a person, and simply that's that. I mean, her father is strong, but also she's strong. Yeah. But that's a great note to leave it on. It was great to talk to you, and I hope that you found it useful and that you picked it up.
Yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember again, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and go check out the Life of Costy's channel as well.
And also my Instagram if you want to see my travels and also my book reviews that I do speedily.
I'll put that down in the link as well.
Thank you.